Hello, everyone. World. My name is Joan Peter Chen again, CEO of Accenture, President of World Smart Cities Forum. This is actually fifth time of Accenture Open Tech Day to inviting the startups around the world to pitching their solutions technologies so that the people understand better. And we do have some the judges, investors, that we actually have a mutual and bilateral communications, and you will see the capacity and capabilities of these beautiful startups pitching for today. So we have three startups. So first of all, Widi, CEO of telebionix from the US, and he will actually speak. He will speak for 50 minutes first. Excuse me. And then Unifi.id, Paul Sheedy, CEO of Unifi.id, will do later. And lastly, Jason Thomas. He's now in Bulgaria, but he's from the UK. Also the COO of Cityzenith from Chicago, I think. So then let's go ahead. Let's begin. So if you, Widi, you're ready, then
sure.
Let's.
Let me then share my screen. Thank you so much, by the way, Peter, for the opportunity. I'm going to go directly to my presentation here. If there are any questions, please stop me. I will try to accelerate the process to the allowed 8 minutes. So telebionix, we're a smart medical device design company in California. We just went through a hard day for you guys on connected cities and talking about that. I'm bringing in front of you a product that touches and contributes to everything, right? From security to mobility, healthcare, well-being, energy, resource management, public services. Everything that was on the conference is something that we somehow contribute to, and you'll see that at the end of this presentation. Changes here a little bit slow, but bear with me. Like I said, medtech company headquartered in California. The objective is to develop smart medical devices. We use a layer of AI and blockchain on top of our product. We have an initial flagship product, and we have a roadmap for expansion and extension of capabilities. You will see that through the whole presentation. Our team, a lot of experience in IT, AI, robotics, cybersecurity, medical device, pharmaceutical. The educational background is very solid. 70% of the top layer and management is PhD in medicine, scientific research, or product development, with a track record that it's, to tell you the truth, really, really impressive when you start looking about the companies, corporations, or entities that the team has worked on. The leadership, real quickly. Shibib, alias Shibib, my co-founder. And then I have Ali Alandari, PhD in R&D and VP of Engineering, Mustafa Golabi. These gentlemen are the top on their tier, and myself. We also have a very solid advisory team in life science, financials, investment, GTM, connections directly to the UN and WHO and medical advisors that are very recognized at their level. For our product, I have a cardiologist in Summer Ellenham, and then Hilario Martinez is in general medicine. We are a global team. Our presence is all over the place, but solely, we have the core of the team in US and Europe. We also have people in UAE, expanding very quickly as we're bringing more people in. So we really are a global team altogether. What are we doing, right? What we're doing is we are effective if we're providing a solution for a problem that was enhanced or really was shown very to be very critical during the pandemic situation, right? Effective remote healthcare was not there, right? So we also how inefficient the system was. We also the pure use of the resources during the pandemic, and we brought in a solution that not only can tackle a similar situation, hopefully never happens, but that can tackle and help a similar situation, but can also add value when there is not such thing as a pandemic, and we are talking about smart cities or connected cities, right? The solution is our RemoSense product. It's a convenient, low-cost RPM. For the first time, we're gathering all of the power of the different biosignals that need to be taken to make a good triage or a good diagnostic: body temperature, blood pressure, heart rate, the change of heart rate, the blood oxygenation, ECG, and a stethoscope. All of that in a small handheld battery-powered unit. This is the first time that a unit with this description is being created. We're super excited to bring that into your attention. Like I said, flagship product is our RemoSense. That's what we decided to call it. It includes a carrying case with UV sterilization, completely portable, and it also includes a lanyard so that it can also be used not only for personal healthcare but for professionals, doctors, nurses, everybody, reducing the risk of data transfer, data exchange, and all of that, because the data that is picked up from the patient goes directly to the ERP system. We've already been recognized by different organizations. Red Crow, we are top 5 trending company for Red Crow, and a supernova for them. That means that we have a lot of traffic in our page and introduction page, and that there's a lot of interest in our product. We were happy to be awarded the Digital Wellness Healthcare Award for 2021 from Open Business Council, and we were selected to participate in the most fundable companies here in Pepperdine, California, based on the description of our product and the team that's backing it up. So we're super excited, and that just happened in 2021. A lot of traction. I'm not going to go through all of this, but we have government traction, we have humanitarian effort traction. We are talking to major educational entities for R&D collaboration, and already have signed contracts with them, or agreements, I should say, with them. We have contracts in place with providers of telehealth. We are in discussions with others, but here are the people that are interested in our product on the distribution channel. So heavy traction in a very short amount of time. We already talked about the capabilities of the product. On top of that, really what you will see coming from the product, you will see through a user interface on either an iPad or a phone directly. So the unit is a simple unit to use because it only has one button, on off, that's it. Everything else happened directly on the user interface, or should I say the intelligent device, right? Meaning capturing all the information, meaning exchanging that information, and meaning also saving securely that information on a server web service. Very simple to use. For example, here are 2 of the functions, not to go too further into the line of use, but when you're doing SpO2, like every oximeter, you just put your finger. PPG wise, we detect the signal. In that same cavity, we have an infrared sensor. We have ECG, single lead ECG, demonstrated here on the far right. And then we also, at the bottom of the unit, there is a digital stethoscope, so the doctor can listen to your respiratory or your heart functions directly and live. Very quickly, how does it work? The way that we are proposing the use of this for telehealth as an initial, and then B2B2C, right? Directly to customer. But let's go to one case scenario. Using it for telemedicine and telehealth, the patient just called the professional. The professional directs the person to use the system. The system picks up all of the information. The data is encrypted and transferred directly to the server, and there's a permission given to a particular doctor or an entity to download that information in PDF format or any other secure format to have it as a historical fact. The beauty of the product is that for the first time, we can correlate vital signs to a conditions, right? So it's not only picking up these these conditions or this information and having it stored somewhere for future check, but actively doing something with it, right? We can have all of the 7 different biometrics that we mentioned before, and the diagnostic of the doctor, and for the first time, never been done before, all of that information is available for same time frame, same point in time, same patient, right? And a diagnostic related to it. So that means that our AI will learn very quickly how to correlate all of these different science conditions to the diagnostic, with the mission of eventually becoming predictive. That is the mission at the end, becoming predictive and helping the healthcare provider by red flagging things for them. We have a phase 1 to go directly to hospital, telehealth services providers, doctors, and patients. And I say that because that's a B2B plan to go first that way. I can share this with you later. Because of the time, I'm going to accelerate here. This is a graphic example of what will be phase 1, phase 2. So phase 1 will be directly to telehealth providers, like I mentioned. The second one, B2B, B2C, is when we already have made a strong and solid base on the healthcare environment, and now we can go directly to the patients. That's a plan for 2023, and we want to do that through e-commerce distribution network. The market opportunity for this is incredible. This is all backed up by information that we can provide to you separately. But we're talking about $200 billion telehealth. We're talking about one of the fastest growing verticals in medicine, which is telehealth, 38.2%. That's unheard of before. We're talking about not only those numbers, but we're talking about the acceptability of telehealth overall. Just before the pandemic situation, it was there for 20 years before the pandemic situation, but nobody paid real attention to it. Nobody took it seriously. Now it's at the forefront of news, of entities, of governments, and we're a player in that exact environment. Not only the entities, but the executives themselves. 90% of the executives already say that they are applying telehealth in one way or another. And the doctors are saying, yeah, that's beautiful, but we don't have the tools to do it effectively. We are bringing that tool to the market. So we know that it's going to be transformational. We have a very defined roadmap for the product. B1 is the one that we are pushing out now. Then we're going to have APIs and to allow third parties to connect to our system and add to the overall data set. We have already in parallel, we've been working with a B2 that is going to be a little bit more interactive. It's going to have a touchscreen interaction. It's going to be including a camera for ID directly on the unit, and not only ID directly for the unit, but also to take pictures of skin conditions, etc. And then we have other additional modalities that we're working on the R&D side for version 3. Geographic expansions, I'm not going to go too much into this in the sense that just to respect time, but we want to go global. We have a mission now to go US and Canada. On phase 2, we're expanding to Mexico. We're expanding Europe and Asia, as you can see here. There is competition out there. We're not the only ones trying to do this. We're not owners of knowledge. We're just participants on this effort. But we think that we are a little bit in advantage to the rest of the competition. Later on, you can review all of these different points, but we believe that we offer the largest capabilities of all the products.
Rudy, I think you spent a lot of time on this. So can you wrap it up?
I'm going to wrap it up. $350,000 self-funded at an MVP level. Investment assets $5 million with a minimum tranche of $3 million to get to the point that we want. We have 90 days medical trial and IP and patent. We're working in parallel with FDA approvals, and sales and marketing is expected to be by the end of 2021. That basically is. Thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me the presentation, and we'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. Can you close your deck?
I can definitely do that. Yes, sir.
So it's kind of quite interesting one, because one of the beauty of the smart city is and how to just protect the citizens and residents from the city. So we actually been through the pandemic since last year, and we realized that a lot of hospital concerns. I mean, a lot of patients and with COVID and the operations of the hospital is not really workable anymore. And so there was like huge demands, and everybody's talking about healthcare systems, and it has been really just rising concerns and around the world. And now people they realize it. And the thing is, there are so many players in the market, and also you're dealing with the kind of sensors and data, AI. So another challenge is for the regulatory, the compliance, and also some of the countries they don't allow this kind of service is actually workable, because if you're sick, you have to visit the hospital by yourself, or you cannot actually just you are allowed the using the kind of patient's data out of the hospital or something. So regarding that kind of point, and so do you have any specific the markets, either like a B2C, B2B? You just mentioned about kind of the way of the phase 1, phase 2. The thing is, I understand that some of the kind of this kind of the providers, mostly we probably easily imagine the telecommunication companies will be one of the best providers to allow your solutions to be a part of it. And the thing is, also you're dealing with the sensors and AI, kind of the data analytics. And do you have any patents with it? And that's the first question. And
we do.
Patents. And also regarding the dealing with your partners, like a strategic partners, and you're taking advantage of those kind of platform of telecommunication providers. How you are negotiable? I mean, kind of the competitive analysis, the dealing with them.
So right now, just to answer the couple of parts of that question as fast as I can. So the first part is about protection. We have a protection, and we're working on that was an early stage protection of the technology that we use for sensing technology. We now have a method for protection that we're working on because of all of the added capabilities of the system through the year of development. So we are going to end up with two very particular protection, one for sensing technology and the other one for a method of applying artificial intelligence and blockchain technology to the data set that we have. Then the other one is, are we doing any negotiation with the communication companies at this point? I'm going to be very, very sincere, Peter. We're not, because we're using a different channel at the moment. But when we go to the B2C, which is a 2023 effort, we definitely have to do the connections to those type of companies. The companies that we're working at the B2B level already have their communication channels, and we're taking advantage of that particular setup, right? And that's why we decided to go in that direction. But definitely the effort to do what you just expressed is going to be happening at the end of 2021 to be ready for the next stage.
Okay. Selena, do you have any questions?
Yes, I have a question. So thank you for your presentations. My question is, do you have the roadmap for the deeper solution? Like, as I see in this one, we only have the analyze for a very basic prediction for case and illness and situation, right? But we want more analyze for what capacity of the patient could be in. So this is the first product for very early stage, or that is the main product for totally business in the business. Thank you.
I would like to kind of understand the question a little bit better, Selena. I just want to make sure that I answer correctly. So do you want to repeat so that I want to make sure that I answer the right thing to you.
Sure. So my question is, this is your main product or the first product for very early stage, and then you're gonna improve deeper solution in healthcare? Or did you keep this main product? Because as I see, I'm working in the medtech industry, so this solution are like Peter already mentioned, it's competition and the location and the policy of different countries, they have difference, and you have to come to hospital to visit and check again. So if you selling to even B2B and B2C, their result is just ready, like heart rating, you cannot predict the real illness of the patient, right? So the first one, the first very early stage for solution, or the main solution for your business, the main product.
So the way that we're doing, and I hope that I'm going to answer your question correctly. That the way that we're doing this is we definitely have different policies in different countries, right? That's a challenge that we know that we have. So what we're trying to do is do a parallel effort, not only on trying to accommodate as much as we can from the get-go, but also to work with the policy makers, because they have to understand that the future is in this connectivity, the future is in this exchange and the secure exchange. That's the problem. The problem is how to demonstrate that there is integrity in the information, that the information cannot be manipulated, right? And that it can be delivered as it was taken from the device. So our focus is on making sure that we use, for example, blockchain technology to make sure that the integrity of that information is kept. We're using a strong layer of cybersecurity to making sure that the information is protected. And we're also making sure that we share the information through documents that are not changeable, that are not editable, right? So that's all of the parameters that we're taking from the get-go. But we have countries that are already ready to accept this, and that's going to be revenue that we're going to generate immediately, but we cannot stop there. We have to work with the policymakers, and we have to describe how are we protecting the user information, how are we also delivering the right data to the entities that are going to see this information. So we're working on that, but the policies, we need to work with them. It makes sense to, on a connected city, to also allow an extension of the hospital and healthcare, allow that extension to go directly to the home. So we have to work with that, Selena. That's a great point, and thank you. I hope that I answered your question. And that's going from the version 1. That's going from the first version out. Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful. I'd like to have more questions, but we do have other the judges in Singapore and South Korea and the US. So if you actually provide your deck with me, then I can actually spread out. I can actually share it with the other judges. Then we can actually maybe communicate later on. Okay.
I certainly will. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and nice meeting everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Witty. All right. So next up, Paul. Paul Shitty from Unifi.id. Are you ready?
Born ready. Yes, absolutely. I'll just get this deck up right now, and we'll crack on. Okay, is my deck showing now?
Yep. You can.
Great. Okay.
Bigger.
So thank you, Peter, for having me today, and great to be introduced to you all. I've known Peter quite some time, and he's well aware of the deep level of commitment we've given to smart cities and especially smart buildings. So Unifi is a company that's really looking to change the way buildings are managed, and there's never been a better time than now. As we all know, the workplace has completely fundamentally changed. COVID has decimated a lot of the European and West in terms of how we're even looking at buildings. We see a change in even the psychology of the next millenniums, how they see an office and what they expect of it. And, you know, we can sit here all day looking at the stats. I think we all have a good idea that there's a major crisis on there, perfect storm for the building sector. And this is a time now when the building sector is waking up to the fact that it's been probably too asleep at the wheel for a long time and hasn't digitalized. What we're doing is delivering to the sector a way of them to get out of the mess they're in now and have clear data on what's really happening. So our view is it's no longer a luxury to not understand what's happening in a building. You have to have movement intelligence of your occupancy to know what's going on. Right now, 40% globally of the greenhouse gases, the power used in buildings is in the commercial real estate sector. And about 30% of that power is wasted. And we're going to change all that. And we're going to change it really in a very simple way. What we do as Unifi is we detect and we deliver the actionable data you need on the real-time occupancy on a zone-by-zone or a floor-by-floor basis of your buildings, getting to understand your tenants' behavior better, identifying very clearly where we can make cost savings, helping you utilize space better, and ensuring from all this data we collect on you exactly how you put in the measures for a more secure and a controlled building. Now, look, it's all about ROI right now. And what we're doing is we're delivering data on these 5 key sectors. So security, where in real time, we know, so there's a lot of noise in the background there, Peter. In security, we're detecting every single breach of security that's happening in real time. As somebody goes into a floor they shouldn't be there, or an asset moves that shouldn't be moving, it's a digital alert to your security team, meaning you have a smaller security team, but who are actually being alerted on every single issue that arises. Your reception team will have the face and the name of the person who gets out of the lift or walks into reception instantly. And this delivers great engagement and higher retention rates of tenants. And then in the last year, what we didn't do was sit back and do nothing. We got involved with Hikvision in China, who we work with very closely. And we built both a virtual doors, which we deployed in Deloitte about 3 years ago, and a way of detecting you as you walk into a building automatically, even with a face mask on, and closing down your access control system before you even get to the barriers. And then, of course, in FM, we're changing the way FM teams work. So instead of a every 2 hours basis of cleaning a floor, we're looking at the actual man hours used on every floor of a building and communicating with them what they should be doing next to be as efficient as possible, and therefore reducing the number of FM teams you have. And of course, all this data that's going around the buildings, what we deliver is an incredible way to what will be the gold standard on evacuating a high-rise building. Now, this is actually I'm going to show you a very short video of what we would see. This is a speed-up video of a 7-story building in Manchester, where at the point an alarm goes off in any high-rise building, we know exactly how many people on each floor of the building. We also know how many of them have got a disability or a mobility issue, how many fire wardens you have.
Paul,
yeah.
we don't see your screen, because can you actually just make the deck large? Because I don't. Yeah, there you go.
You can see it now.
Yeah, it's better.
Right. So have you not seen anything so far?
Yeah, it was the first page all the time.
Okay, great. No, my fourth pitch today, and it's the first one that's gone wrong. Okay. Look, I've gone through all this here. So as I was saying, the key thing here is that what we get to see, and obviously I need to animate this, is in real time, at the point an alarm goes off, you know how many people are on a floor, how many got a disability, where your fire wardens are, where your fire services are as they go into the building. Now, what that's going to do, it's going to enable us through the technology we have to alert the fire service in Vietnam or Ukraine or France, Switzerland, the UK, to, as they go to the building, what is actually happening? How many floors has it got? How many stairways has it got? How many people on every one of those floors? And we can predict based on that data through our machine learning, through our reinforced learning, our random forest, how long that building is going to take to evacuate based on that data at that exact moment. And this is going to take away the issues that have occurred in London, which was a disgrace, and other cities around the world where there's been major issues with evacuating buildings. Now, how this whole system works is very simple. We don't put sensors everywhere. We put our sensors in the lift lobbies or in the stairways of the building. That's all. And inside your access card, we embed extra technologies. And this extra technology allows us to see that card from about 10 meters away, even further. And we detect you, and that data goes into our system where you can analyze exactly what's happening in every one of your buildings, every floor of your building, every company in your building, right down to individuals, and really work out how you're going to change the way you run your buildings. And of course, the last thing is we act. We have automated communication protocols that allows your security teams, your building management, your FM teams, and your fire services to know what they should do when automatically. Behind this is an illustration of some of the type of reporting tools where we can dive right in and just go through an overview of what's happening. And really what we're trying to do with building owners now is get them to finally look at everything that happens on a floor. How late can you turn on the air conditioning? How early can you turn it off? And as we build more sensor technology together, we'll combine this data to enable the BIM systems or building management systems to basically automatically go in and automate the maximum efficiency and turn things off as early as they can, override PIR systems as well, so we don't have buildings lit up like Christmas trees all night long. Now, our clients already include Deloitte, where we have all of the UK staff have our technology built inside their card. We've Grosvenor Estates for co-working. We've just picked up TSB Bank. We've been already into Saudi Arabia, and we've also picked up UCL, a university where we do automated attendance of all students. In terms of what we're doing is we're pushing with a lot of universities. In fact, just this morning at 11 a.m., we put in a latest bid for some considerable funding for the next stage we're going on with a number of universities where we're developing the first 2.4 and 5G non-powered IoT detectable device. And what we're seeing now is we're detecting our card from more than 10 meters away, developing passive energy harvesting. And look, we are doing something different than everybody else. We are focusing on the card. We are not focused on building another app, which requires everybody from your cleaner to your CEO to have all the settings on all day long, which is wearing your battery out. That is not the way forward. The way forward is a simple solution that works for everybody automatically. So our value proposition is clear. We have real-time insight for you to make all these decisions straight away. They have to be made straight away. The data for you to find out exactly where you find your cost reductions, and all the data for your control and your safety triggers inside that building. Our competition, and I use this word passively, our competition will be seen as access control and then maybe proximity, BLE, smartphone solutions. Now, the access control sector isn't really a competition. In fact, we get most of our work from the likes of Stanley, HID, Gallagher, etc., because they do one part. They do access control, they do opening doors, but actually we deliver all the extra layers of data and insights and communication tools. So they are actually really our partners rather than our competition. And looking at the beacon enabled phones and all the rest, it's been around forever. Everybody's tried it. Everybody's failing because you just can't get your entire workforce to move to a system like this. It's just not possible. So our partnerships and where we're looking to try and go strategically is working much more with smart city solutions. That's why I've been very close with Pete for a long time, working with the access control companies and also with the insurance side, delivering what we call a black box system. So the same way that anything goes wrong in a building or an aircraft, it's the same in a building. You have the data there of what's happened right up to that system. And this is where we're getting a lot of interest from the insurance sector. In terms of model, it's very simple. We put in the hardware, which can be either leased or purchased as a CapEx, and then we work on a SaaS model. And the SaaS model is very fair. So in the last year, our clients have had very low billing because our buildings have been practically empty. So when times are hard, we're not billing you very much. When times are good, we make a margin. And in terms of what I've been doing the last couple of years, so to give you a little bit of background, my last company, a technology company, we started back in 2002. I started this company in 2013. I grew my last company to 14 countries, never actually had a UK client. And that was from the West Coast of America right through to the East Coast, right through Europe, Ukraine, Russia, and Thailand. This company, again, I've been really focused on the globalization of the company. We've set up it in China already, and we got an entry in Hong Kong. We've deployed in Saudi Arabia as well. And as Peter knows, I'm really pushing for South Korea, Vietnam, Australia, where we're working with now as well, because we see the Far East as really being the pivot point for us. It's where the buildings are modern buildings. They're working faster. They're working harder. Europe is a little asleep at the wheel, and I think it will wake up due to COVID right now. In terms of our deployment, we have this down to a fine art. Within a day or two, we will have the drawings of a building. We'll put back the design quotation. We can develop. We can have the hardware installed within about a month, get you up and running in a week, and then we go on with the service and support. And again, we're working with Gallagher in New Zealand, HID, Stanley Security, etc. Now, behind me is an extremely experienced team. As I mentioned, my last company, I worked with Simon Massey, who's my head of sales. We grew that company to 14 countries, turning over 60 million in the first 8 years. Never had a penny in investment or borrowing. We grew the business organically for a tech company that's unheard of nowadays. My chairman is Alex. He's chairman of about 5 technology companies. And then I have Amal and Junmei, who are my sort of technical directors. Junmei from China, who worked on the Baidu satellite systems, and Amal, who's very heavily involved in the banking sector in the Middle East. Behind that, again, I got some real cutting-edge experts, people like Professor Ed Galea, the world's leading professor on evacuation modeling and solutions. So he's been on the 9/11 inquiry, the Grenfell inquiry. He goes right back to the King's Cross and the Zeebrugge events. He's really put us together with 4 other companies to deliver what he calls the gold standard of an evacuation process, where our different technologies come together and deliver all the insight to ensure that you cannot have a safer building. Then Professor Sunday Ekbo works on my communication protocols, helping us with 5G and now setting into 6G technologies, looking at how we use different type of radio bands and deliver a solution which is a non-powered solution. That's really critical. There's no point just trying to lower your power consumption if we're going to go and suck energy out of the building. So all the cards we deliver are non-powered. And then we got a great advisory board behind that across US, UK, and China. In terms of our projected forecast, we're expecting by end of 21 to be doing our year-end 2021 to be doing 5.5 million, growing rapidly to 32 and then 79 the year after. We have just actually raised, although it looks like I'm seeking money, we've actually just raised this funding already, 10 million. We're going to really focus on the sales and marketing side. That's where most of the funds are going to go, customer delivery and support. And then we have a lot to do on technology and IT. We know what we need to do in terms of where the sector, where we need to be expanding our technology map. And we will be pushing that very, very hard. As I mentioned, we have an office already in Hangzhou. We work very closely with Hikvision and Toya, who are the world's leading platforms and service for smart devices. And we're going to be working closely with people like Huawei. And as I mentioned, Vietnam, South Korea, Hong Kong, these are really where the expansion needs to happen going forward. More than happy to take more questions. We're probably going to get a lot more funding in China. We've been funded by the Chinese government already, and we've got a lot more funding we expect is going to come in late summer this year to grow that as a separate entity within the company. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Paul. It's quite a long presentation. It's okay. So I already know what you do. Is actually prop tech is one of the things that we actually just see. One of the most important part of the smart city structure. So you might actually have a lot of opportunities in the future regarding the prop tech and also the securing the building much more safer and sharing data. And based on that, probably you and I actually experienced the buildings like One Canada Square in Canary Wharf. I think probably maybe the new buildings will be built in developing countries like in Vietnam and China. So they have to deal with many different things at a time. You probably heard about the skyscraper in Shenzhen is like shaking, and the people like evacuated a few days ago.
I didn't hear that. Okay.
The building is actually shaked by itself, and all the people inside is actually 75-story building. It's a huge building, and all the people evacuated from building. So it's one of them. So we're trying to making the better design, and also the cost efficient and the security served and also data shared.
Exactly. And my apologies to any Trump supporters here in the call, but I think Biden coming in and
okay, I think we lost him somehow. So basically, I'm gonna actually get the some his deck, presentation deck. So then maybe judges and all me myself probably maybe have some specific questions.
Sorry, what was that?
No, actually, we are done. So we don't have much time right now. So we'll actually send you, if we have any questions from the judge, then I'll deliver the other questions to you. And as separate,
That'd be great.
Have a the catch-up phone call later on. Okay.
Great. It'd be great to talk to you again, Selena. By the way,
Thank you. Yeah, see you again.
I have a team in Vietnam ready to deploy. Okay.
Yeah, wonderful.
Great.
Great.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
So the final startup, Cityzenith, Jason. Okay. If you're ready, then you're good to go.
Yep. I'll just share my screen with you.
Okay. So we gotta just finish up within 15 minutes. So just.
That's not a problem at all.
Thank you.
So let me know if you could see my presentation.
Not yet. Now we do.
Perfect.
Yes.
So Cityzenith, who are we, first of all? So we are a privately owned software and platform developer, founded in 2009 by Michael Jansen. He's our CEO and chairman. We've raised $10 million to date. We're currently running a Regulation A+ fundraise. We're currently just under 3 million of a 15 million target. And that is linked to a pledge called Clean Cities, Clean Future, which has actually been broadcast on adverts that we've pushed out on all of the news channels that you can see at the bottom there. And this is really giving our technology to cities to help them to understand how they can decarbonize. We've got offices in London, Chicago, New Delhi. I'm based out of London. We're headquartered in Chicago, where Michael and our CTO and most of our development team are. But as a digital-first company, we are around 30 large, mostly on the development side, and they are spread across the globe. We've picked the best talent for the best jobs. As far as where we've actually deployed, we've done that globally. So projects in the UK, which has been around rail infrastructure and buildings. We've done North America, which is a case study I'll show you, which is smart entertainment systems, sports and entertainment districts, as well as timelining for construction management, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, India, and there are many projects that we're currently underway. But the interesting thing about our platform is we do not discriminate. We are not specifically for a particular type of sector. We're not for a particular type of vendor software. We're not for a particular stage within that project, because it's data first.
Jason, we don't see your slide. So can you just maybe make your slide bigger?
Yeah, so bear me 2 seconds, because I've actually got it on mode. Are you able to see that now?
No, not
First
yet. Oh,
slide. Yeah,
no.
no.
There you go.
Brilliant. So what is a digital twin? There are many versions, many interpretations out there. Ours is very much platform driven by the use of being able to connect data with physical assets. So that's creating virtual replicas, being able to use those for simulation, analysis, prediction, optimization, maintenance. Really, that's where we're able to open this up across many different sectors and many different project types and stages, as it is about that particular data. Now, for us, we are very much a front-end system of systems. We focus on helping people to create digital twins by aggregating and integrating various file formats, various third-party vendors, various different systems, so that you can create a holistic view of that asset all in one space and then interact with it accordingly. Now, the reason that we've focused on cities is because 76% of all greenhouse gases come from cities. We know that we've got a population growth issue, so 10,000 new cities required by 2050. But we also know that we've got issues, especially in North America, especially in Europe, with data silos. In London alone, the energy information is held sporadically across 8 different sites. some of those public, some of those auctioned, some of them FTP. It's how can we actually start to make change if we don't understand the whole picture? And that's why we really look at piecing this together and create a holistic view, and then help that to make informed decisions and hopefully change policies. As far as the platform is concerned itself, it is a desktop application. The projects are held either on premise or in the cloud. That could be private cloud, government cloud, local cloud. We have a front-end client which is very much around visualization, very much towards the end users. So anyone could use this. It's not a case of being a data scientist. And then the back end is very much around how do we consume that data, how do we interpret it, how do we make sure that we create the right relationships and run the right simulations in order to allow that end user to understand what they're looking at. As far as the customers are concerned, they vary from government through to commercial real estate developers, through to architects, engineers, owner-operators. We've just signed a new contract, which is a digital twin design studio contract. So we're actually creating a customized version of our platform so that they can then sell that as a digital marketplace. And that's going to be for energy and communication projects across North America. That's with a company called Agile Fractal Grid and their sister company Fractal Twins. The idea there being is that we can then standardize the deployment of digital twins, effectively create a digital twin factory, which means we then have a blueprint to be able to create hundreds, if not thousands, of digital twins anywhere across the world by incorporating different vendors' outputs, different point solution outputs. As far as projects, I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but from the scale of these, Amravathi is the largest. It's a master planning exercise that we did with Foster and Partners and the supply chain. And this was around microclimate analysis, so being able to reduce ground temperature by 8 degrees Celsius through mass aggregation and simulation of information. We have rail projects, so this is in the UK, just over 100 kilometres of rail track, incorporating GIS information, BIM information, 360-degree photos, LiDAR, sensor data, all very much focused around health and safety of workers, reducing roadblocks through engineering and on-site construction, and then being able to capture data in order to maintain that moving forward. One of the larger projects that we're working on in North America is the Orlando Sports and Entertainment District. This is a digital twin for operation purposes, but the focus here is very much around the tourist and the occupant of these spaces. So with their own platform where they produce mobile applications where they will layer digital services on top of the digital twin. This will underpin everything that's happening within each of these buildings, commercial real estate, retail, hospitality, open air entertainment spaces, and they will then layer that with services that they will draw tourists into and get them to dwell in those spaces. So very much starting to look at the end user as opposed to the initial customer. Excuse this. As far as our approach is concerned, we have gone down a non-proprietary open API platform. We've got open source data in there. You're able to load your own information in there. We've kept this open as far as vendors are concerned. We've not ring-fenced anything. Therefore, we can consume data from 3D geometry, whether it be BIM, reality capture, 360-degree photos. We can merge that with GIS data. We can input and layer IoT information, data sets and databases that may be connected, and we can create web browser reports and connections to those for people that aren't using a desktop client. And then with the Open API, we are looking to create an ecosystem of vendors that want to plug their data into the digital twin platform. And this is where our vision for the Clean Cities, Clean Future comes into play, because we can hand over our technology to a city, and they can then have all of the occupants of those buildings, all of the companies, the corporations, all of the sensors on all of the infrastructure pushed directly into a platform that they can then make sense of. But we're not only about visualization. Visualization's key because as human beings, we understand what we see. So the navigation in the 3D on gaming engine technology, we use Unity. That's where we get that visualization, that buy-in from the community and the users. But we also have bidirectional links through those APIs and through wrapped technology in our platform that allows us to start to manually override IoT systems, control systems, BMS systems, tenant management systems, really anything that you start to connect into that digital twin, which is really helping to promote that remote worker scenario due to the COVID. Just a very short 30-second burst here of what this actually looks like. This is really focusing on the IoT piece. This is a 10 square kilometer downtown Orlando model. This has the architectural and structural models imported from the various design chain. And then we imported the sensor outs. So this is an idea of what they're able to achieve by actually pulling in BMS information, pulling in environmental quality sensor data, and being able to monitor what's happening with certain assets and understanding the outputs. And this is all done directly through the interface. This can then be pushed onto different reports that will be pushed out via a web browser, and then that can be interacted to whilst out on site. As far as, I'm not going to go into this part, so I'll just go close that off. As far as our business model is concerned, we run a named user license model. So we don't charge per square foot, we don't charge per connection node, we don't charge per model. It's very much based on who needs access to that data, and then having them set the right permissions to be able to frame that data according to that end user. For commercial real estate owners, for cities, we have a different model which is very much based around the number of buildings. So it's the flat fee per building with an unlimited number of users for that building, because we are very aware that commercial real estate owners, even governments, they have buildings where they are multi-tenanted. So you might want a master digital twin of a building, and then you might want to separate that out into individual digital twins of each of those tenants. So we have two different business models, licensing models, should I say, to meet the requirements. And then, of course, the construction side of the business, which is very much around understanding the issues, understanding what is already available, scoping that project as per the desired outcomes, handing over that and helping our customers to evolve that over time as their use cases change and evolve, so that they're future-proofing their investment. I've tried to keep that within the 8 minutes for you. I'm more than I'd happily take questions, but thanks for your time for listening about our company.
Thank you very much, Jason. So it's a really amazing presentations, because one fundamental pillar to support the my initiative in Vietnam and Ukraine, in the US, is all about the digital twin. When I was a master planner of South Korean small city and national pilot project, I brought a concept of the digital twin initiative into it. Because the digital twin is a kind of the integrated platform that you can combine every different solutions. And also the data is actually basically embedded. And before you just going into the real constructions of the site, then you know, it will be easily tested, and also you can fix it in the meantime. So that way we can include you know, many different types of variety of participations from the stakeholders of the cities. It's a very, very important portion. And I think maybe a whole sheet is mentioned about kind of prop tech initiatives and prop tech solutions and everything, but it combined together with prop tech and digital twin. One of the best city will be probably in the metropolitan area. In the US, you can see that you were just maybe giving examples of Orlando, but I see that New York City definitely, of course, is one of them. There's a one very high potential. London, of course, and Chicago area. And I think probably rising the cities in the U.S. is Phoenix, Arizona. So it's combined with the greenfield and brownfield together. So there might be a lot of chances out there. I think that this is a very amazing topics with the digital twin. But sadly, we don't have much time. But we can definitely have a chat with Michael Johnson together about the kind of the future collaborations and probably your involvement in the smart city initiatives. And we're working with them right now. So, Selena, do you have any questions? Can you say something?
Yes, thank you. Very fascinating about the digital twin about 2 years ago. So when he mentioned, really interesting. So my question is, because this mostly government are planner, right? Because he focused on the big city solution. And in Asia, especially like Vietnam, it's quite difficult to connect with government. If you work with Peter already, deploy in the north of Vietnam. So what is the most challenge? I see amazing solution product, but more challenge like go to the markets or working direct to the buyer, the user that you are facing right now. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's a very good point, Selena. And in all honesty, we are typically working with the owner-operator. Governments at the moment don't have funding. And the funding that they do have are being pumped into physical assets. There is the argument that money should be looking at future-proofing those assets. But unfortunately, we all know what the state of the market is. We're very much working with organizations like C40, 2030 districts. We've joined the Digital Twin Consortium. We're working with partners that really focus on digital transformation and decarbonisation because they are talking to those customers. For us, government is something we would love to do more of, but there just isn't the funding for it. We need to really get the buy-in from the organisations, the real estate investment trusts that are taking up the cities as far as square footage is concerned. It's a very good point.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Weedy from telebionix, and Paul Sheedy from Unifi.id, and Jason Thomas from Cityzenith. I really appreciate your contributions. I think probably I'll maybe call for the collaborative meetings later on together to the probably follow-up meetings together and how we can actually just do something. In the meantime, if you share your the presentation deck you showed us, then I'll actually just look around with the other judges in Singapore, South Korea, and the US. Then we can actually have further maybe questions from them, and I can actually share it with you. Okay?
Sure. An honor to be here. Thank you, guys. Nice meeting you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.